'68, I decided to form a band called Judas Priest. Late '68, early '69. Unfortunately, our guitarist committed suicide at 18, young John Perry. Various reasons, I don't know what happened, but it was a shame. But we needed another guitarist in, and we brought in a couple of guys for auditioning. One was KK Downing, and he didn't get the job at the time. He wasn't quite up to scratch. He was only young, he was 17, and we was looking for a name, and this is just prior to the Judas Priest. So I said, let's get a double barrel heavy metal name off her. And Bruno, the bass player, Big Bruno, he came up with Judas Priest, taken from a Bob Dylan album of his. It was called John Wesley Harding, and the track was called The Ballad of Frank Hill and Judas Priest. And we all went, wow, that is a great name, that's going to get the attention of people, you know. We were together for about a year, and we actually signed a record contract with Immediate Records. This was a guy called Andrew Loog Oldham, and he was the guy who owned the company who formed the Rolling Stones. He was the guy who discovered the Rolling Stones, and he was a press agent for the Beatles, and he got loads and loads of bands on his books. We thought, we're laughing here, 3-year contract, champagne party with our management and everything, and they went bust within a couple of months. We decided to split up, and I decided to form a new band, new lineup, and that's when I went along to some rehearsal rooms in Wednesbury called Holy Joe's, and there was 3 guys rehearsing in one room. One was KK again, who'd learnt a few more chords. One was Ian Hill, and John Ellis on drums, one of their school friends on drums, the 3 of them. And I walked in the room, I said, do you want a singer? And they remembered me. Oh, Al from Judas Priest, yeah. They were called Freight. And I didn't like the name. I said, Fright? Yeah, whatever. Fight? Yeah, but not Freight. And I said, I think Judas Priest, we've already established ourselves. We did tour Scotland, we got a deal almost. We signed a deal, but it went bust. And I said, well, you know, Judas Priest name? And they went, yeah, fantastic. And that was the start of the Judas Priest, what they are now. I was the main songwriter at the time. The other guys had never written nothing before, and I was a couple of years older than them, so I did get a few years under my belt, you know, like experience. So I took the reins as the main spokesman for the band. I mean, 72, we did 150 gigs. We were playing all over the country. We decided to put out as much as we can all over the country, you know, just play anywhere, like, you know.
I managed them from a phone box for a long time because we didn't have a telephone. So I'd go to the phone box and ring up promoters.
So we was up Scotland, we was down south, we was in London, we was anywhere. Even the Isle of Man, we come back, played in Wales, back down to the south again. We just lived on the road, basically.
We put them on the Hippodrome in Earth Street with bands like Family. They were very big at the time. And it just developed from there.
We was playing Birmingham Town Hall, we was playing Liverpool Town Hall, and we started getting up onto the next level. But the bigger we got, the more overheads we got, the more roadies we had to take on. We had a company called Green Goblin or something, carrying a PA system and a couple of guys behind us. And Ian had got his Rover car, and he used to drive the roadies in the next van. Then we got another lot. And it was
KK Downing from Judas Priest decided one to get on a bus and go and sing, because hey, it was Judas Priest with Alan Atkins singing. But they didn't turn up. It got cancelled, and we found out that they just split us that lineup, which was real drag, because I thought they were really good.
I decided to quit in May '73 and got a 9-to-5 job and a haircut, and that was it, like. And after that, of course, you know, Rob came in the band. I wasn't sort of well impressed with Rob's vocals at the time. Got a much higher voice than me. It just sounded someone singing my songs different, I suppose. But I mean, the guy is incredible now. I mean, he's probably the best singer in the world, you know, metal singer in the world. They signed a contract with Gold Records, but only if they added a second guitarist.
Because at the time they were a 4-piece, I felt it wasn't working with a guitar player. Had too much carry. Wasn't the kind of guitar player I felt they needed, although he was brilliant, but it would never have worked as a 4-piece. Spoke with David Harris, the A&R manager at Gold Records, who'd been talking to me about Wishbone Ash, who had a twin guitar thing in the 70s. What about a heavier version with a twin guitar?
And they decided that the best man to get in was Glenn Tipton from the Flying Hat Band.
And straight away, that's where Glenn Tipton came into the picture with Judas Priest. I'd seen him in the Flying Hat Band.
That's when I think the band really started to take off, because Glenn is a great songwriter and great guitarist as well.
And so I approached him at a music shop in Earth Street, and said, well, what about Judas Priest? And his reaction wasn't great, because these groups were all against each other at the time, trying to push their way forward. And I said, no, it'd be great. But eventually I managed to get him to come round to my apartment that I shared with Ken Downing and set up a meeting. And Judas Priest basically were born from there as a 5-piece.
And I think that's when the jigsaw had all been put together, and that was it, you know.
Got the record deal for them with Gold Records. They were the only company at the time that would sign them. Out of everybody approached, turned them down. So they were the only company. Basically, it was a small record deal at that point in time, a couple of £1,000, including the publishing, which would haunt me later, by the way, as far as the group are concerned. But it was the only choice for them. I was responsible, again, for all of their image changes. Used to go to the old theatre costume hire place by the old Bigley Hall and get all these kind of weird clothes for them, which they'd wear, and they looked great. We made an album called Rock-a-Roller with Roger Bain, who'd also worked with Sabbath, the producer, and it wasn't that good. And also the group got hoodwinked into a kind of thing with a Coke bottle top on the cover. And Gold's dreams were, oh, we're going to have this hit singer rock-a-roller, it's all going to be screaming girls. But the group, in my opinion, weren't really going to go that way. It was going to be a long burn, and I could see it probably before anybody else. The damage that could have done, but we got through that to a second album, Sad Wings of Destiny, which I felt was underproduced, but was a really good album song-wise.
I listened to it, and I absolutely hated it. And I thought, no, I really can't play this. And I got a lot of pressure from the record company saying, they're bombing a band, which I really should have listened to. I didn't play it. I was booked to support Judas Priest at Barbarella's on a Sunday night. Priest come on stage, and I'm thinking, well, it's Priest. I'm not just going to announce him from the DJ booth. Come on, let's make a proper deal out of this. So I left the booth, walked on stage, sent a mic, made a big fuss about them. Okay, Judas Priest, where you go? And as we started, basically the DJ booth kind of disintegrated with smoke bombs. Priest had completely lined the booth with smoke bombs. They'd put so many smoke bombs on the stage and around that you couldn't see the band for about 10 minutes. So there was Priest blasting away and the lights going, but you couldn't see a damn thing. And then it took about 20 minutes for it to clear, and then they delivered a fine set, and that was okay.
I started to have major promoters getting involved. The group were pulling people, eventually selling out the Roundhouse in London, so it wasn't just Birmingham, it was everywhere, and Priest Mania was starting.
Fast forward, Priest are coming in, late 70s, playing their stuff, long interview, and I said, look, can I set the record straight, guys? I didn't play your first album. I'm sorry about that. I really, really hated it. And they said, no, you were quite right. We hated it too.
Black Sabbath and Judas Priest was really doing the sort of heavier, sort of big riff, I call it, big riff songs, you know. With Magnum, they've always been like more of a melodic rock band. They were in one set sort of street and they kept going, and they've got the fan base building up all the while.
I joined Bob at the Rum Runner, and we were just a jukebox for people to dance to. I mean, it was very unfulfilling, I've got to say. And I started writing songs, and I'm going like to Bob, come on, let's do some original songs and things.
We made a couple of records for Roger Greenaway. We made a record which never came out. We made another record called Sweet's My Sweet.
What it was, I'm walking through a supermarket one Christmas, I think, and I heard Sweet's My Sweet, oh yeah, being a pop person. And I just thought, oh, I'll do an arrangement to that, just something to do. And I did it, and everybody, oh yeah, that's good. And we stuck a carol in the middle of it.
Yeah, God rest you merry gentlemen. In the middle.
I mean, it was Christmas after all. And
we used to do it on stage.
And it went down amazing, didn't it? Yeah. It was like the best thing that we ever played, and everyone was going, yeah, great. Yeah. And someone saw us doing it and said, oh, I could get you a deal, or something like that. We demoed it, and they took it to Roger Greenaway. And he said, oh yeah, I think it's great, come and record it. And it was a total flop. So, luckily, thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have been on very different paths by now.
I think it is out there somewhere. I think there's vinyl copies of this out there. We left the Rummer and we went on the road backing singers, Mary Wells and Del Shannon Anyway, we were their backing group, and we went around the country doing that for a while.
We backed Del Shannon. Again, that was like to earn some dough. And in the meantime, I was writing stuff, and it was getting sort of heavier and rockier. We'd done some demos, and we got a record deal with Jet Records. We'd recorded on the first album, and it had never been released. This was like Jet Records messing us about. It took 2 years to come out. We were actually playing at the Railway, Curzon Street, which was like sort of a famous place in Birmingham at the time. And we used to get like 200 people in a place like this, you know, a really small place. And Arna Carter, the Priest's management, were in the audience, and they came up to us and said, "Oh, we're Arna Carter and we manage Judas Priest and they're on tour at the moment," and all that sort of thing. And we went, "Yeah." So, do you want to go on tour with Judas Priest? Well, you know, like, yeah, that would be fantastic. They said, "Be at Liverpool Empire tomorrow." You know, I mean, we're on the Railway in this little place, like, you know.
They opened up for Priest, I think about 1972 at some college we played at. It's the first time I ever saw them. I thought they were a great band at the time, yeah.
I mean, when we got there, it was unbelievable. I mean, you walked into this place, it looked like a football pitch, you know, and we'd just come from like a little pub, like my amplifier's on a chair, all that sort of thing, you know. But it was absolutely amazing. Absolutely. And suddenly we went, wow, this is what it's all about, you know. And we had that, they gave us that chance to do that.